Have you been looking to invest in property? You've heard of HMOs, you've heard of single lets, but you're not sure which one to go with, or you don't know what they are like completely. Then in this video, I'll help you out. I'll go through them. I'll give you why some people choose the others, and then hopefully give you an alternative that'll be a lot more helpful. Right, let's get into the video. So HMOs are basic houses of multiple occupancy, which if you can imagine a house, you have multiple AST agreements, so contracts for each room with different people living in them, right? Which is different to a single let, which you have a whole house, maybe you have like a family in there, or maybe you just have a person in there who's taking up the entire house and paying you an agreement. So usually, right, and just to take it to the simplest terms, HMOs have bigger, cash flow, but they also mean a lot more hassle, a lot more work, a lot more regulation. Especially in the last few years, there's been a lot more regulation. But HMOs bring a lot more cash flow because each person's paying you, an X amount, and you're doing the work and you're getting compensated for it. Unlike single lets, where you're kind of renting it out, low hassle. You get 6 month, 12-month AST in there, and that's it. They're paying you every month. And you can kind of forget about it. Whereas with HMO, going back to it, you may have to deal with issues where two different tenants don't like each other, or you have to pay the bills, the Wi-Fi, the electric. It's like almost a whole package that they're paying for. They're just paying for the room and that's it. They get to use all the utilities there. There's communal areas that you might have to upkeep. It really depends on how the agreement is set up. I touched on regulations, and I think there's a new regulation. I forgot exactly what it's called. Something with the council tax, and normally you'd pay council tax for the entire property. So as a HMO owner, you have to pay for the council tax, and you're paying for the entire property. Now they're trying to change it where each room has to pay council tax, and as a HMO owner and landlord, you'll have to pay for that, right? Unless you're putting it onto the tenants, which can get a bit trickier, So that's again, another thing to think about. That's going to push the cost up of HMO rooms unless you're going to take the brunt of it, and that's obviously going to cause a lot more friction with people buying and getting into a tenancy with a HMO. Most people at this point are thinking, right, my choice is either I pick cash flow, right, and I put in the work, and I'm more of an active landlord, or I just go take a loss on the cash flow, but peace of mind. I got my day job, I'm busy, so I just want to get an investment, forget about it. So that's where most people stand. If you're trying to be active, you're getting an HMO, but maybe there isn't, maybe there's a compromise that utilizes both, and I'll talk to you about that now. But if you are enjoying the video and you've taken some value and you're ready for my solution, then please like, comment, subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. It helps out a lot of other people that coming up with the same questions. And look, I hope you take some more value from the rest of this video. Right, so my solution is this. It's a lot more hard work. You're gonna have to put the work in, but you will reap the rewards from this. So you essentially buy an office, you look to convert the office using permitted development, which is easy. It's essentially cutting out the hard works of planning and jumping out the loopholes. As long as councils can give you stress. Anyone that's looked into planning game at all, councils can give you a lot of stress. With permitted development, as long as it's like the government set it out, and you've got this checklist almost. So if you know what you're doing, you've got a good planning team, you've got good people around you, you can make sure you tick off each checklist. Essentially, you will be able to convert that office into residential. Now with residential, now you've got an office where you have multiple 1 beds or 2 beds in there. And that might, if we take you back to HMOs having multiple different rooms in one property, it's just like that. So now you have, multiple different apartments which are separate, So you have different ASTs, just like a single let with each one, right? Except it's under one freehold. So you don't have to drive around a lot of places. You don't have to, deal with issues between neighbors because they've got their flat, this person's got their flat, that person's got their flat. Don't have to deal with their bills or any of the regulations because they're all flats. They're all single lets essentially, but just under one roof. So essentially, you cut out all the regulations. You get the perks of having ASTs, and it's all under one roof. So overall, you're going to be winning. Look, with this, the overheads are easy. You know, you're, like I said, separate ASTs. You don't have to think about HMO licenses. And the final thing is exiting on a HMO is harder. You know, a lot of people that get into HMOs, they buy a property, they, you know, add a room, do an extension, split, you know, the lounge, and make an extra room, and now you've turned that into a HMO. But a lot of people don't want to pay the price of getting an HMO. Most people want to buy a single let turning an HMO. So if you've got a HMO, and say if you turn the entire office that I just spoke about into a huge 10 bed, 20 bed, whatever it is, HMO, that's going to be a hard exit. You know, it's hard to sell that. But when you're selling a 1 bed or a 2 bed, that's going to be a lot easier. Think about it. Everyone wants to buy their first home. There's so many first time buyer incentives. Having a 1 bed or 2 bed, especially if you're going to exit at one point, it's going to be a lot easier. And with HMOs having a lot more regulations, people are probably going to shy away from that in the next 5 years. So that's something to think about. You know, contemplate the pros and cons and make your decision from there. But for me, from where I sit, using that permit development, you're getting the perks of, you know, having the AST, the perks of having single let, as well as the perks of having everything under one roof and getting that cash flow. Now, I hope you took value from that video. I tried to help out as much as I can. Please check out a lot of my other content. There's going to be a lot more helpful stuff if you did like it, and I'll catch you soon.